continue through the years as she continued to travel and work for both work and leisure. So I never really expected her to always physically be here. But still I knew that she was. And when she was here with her smiling face. And she was usually telling me that she was going to Chicago to see her kids. For a while I thought she had a second family in Chicago. Till I learned it was her nephews and niece. Even when she was on the session of our church, much of our work together and with other session members was done by email and phone, which we have already heard. I know that many of you have had the same experience. But when we were face to face, whether at church, on a mission work trip, or just having a cup of coffee over at Pete's, she was fully present. As Paul and many of you have noted here this morning, she was known by many names. And each of us this morning has a relationship with Elizabeth that is personal. We have a relationship with Elizabeth in our imaginations, in our memories, our stories, and our words. And so what we're going to do for just a few minutes is something that I have discovered very rich at times like this. We're going to give each and every one of you the opportunity to share. No, we're not going to line up at the microphone. That would be much too dangerous. Pole dancing? I didn't need to know that. Take a moment and turn to your neighbor and briefly share a memory of Beth. Don't waste time. Okay, let's wind our stories up here before George tries to shake everybody's hand. I have one question. Could you feel Beth in this room? This brings us to our second question. What What are each of us going to do in response to our relationship with Elizabeth? And I would suggest that the most important thing for us to do is hidden in this story of Jesus, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. If we take this story literally, this story will keep us in darkness. Because our experience of death is that it is final. I dare say there are none of us in this room who have ever had anyone who has been pronounced dead come back to us. So if we take this story literally, it keeps us in darkness. But if we open this story up and we can imagine that the tomb that needs to be opened is the tomb of our hearts, just as we did a moment ago, then life bursts forth and Beth lives in our lives. Beth had not been around Capitol Hill Presbyterian Church much in the past 2 years. She had come to a place in her life where she was searching. And we had numerous conversations about this. At first, she thought she was looking for another church and visited other congregations. But she discovered that church is much more than worship on Sunday morning and serving on committees. She told me, she says, no matter where I go, I don't have those lasting relationships with people that I love and trust. She also discovered that she was experiencing God in new ways. One morning over coffee at Pete's, she looked across the table and said to me, she says, Andy, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm closer to God on a horse in an open field than I am in church. And you know what? All I could do was smile. Because Elizabeth